Well, hello, and welcome back to that thing we like to call Curless Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and prog. And today is a great day. I'm so excited to have a stalwart of the channel back, and it's been way too long. We finally got this done, and I'm really excited to have him back. And his name is Bicyclelegs. Bicyclelegs, welcome back to Curless Mania.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, and it's always a pleasure to do a show with you, whether it's here or over on Bicyclelegs Talks Music. Always love the conversations that we have, and this is going to be a great one, I reckon.
This is going to be good. I mean, I think both of us are very excited about this because this has been in the planning stages for a long time, and we finally were able to get this done. So both of us were kind of chomping at the bit to get to this one because I think both of us love this band quite a bit, and that band is Crowded
Mm,
House.
yeah.
And so what I always have to ask, I always start these up, and this is, by the way, this is going to be an incredible run. That's what we're calling this, because both of us in our hearts believe that the first run of the band, the first four records in particular, are just excellent, just start to finish, just gems. And so I have to ask you before we start. So, when was the first time you remember hearing Crowded House? I always like to start with that. Do you remember, like, was there a single? Was it
Yeah.
Mean to Me? Was it on the radio? What
Yeah.
did you, yeah.
It was yeah, it was right at the beginning. I was a Split Enz fan before Crowded House even existed. I grew up with Split Enz, was really disappointed in 1984 when I heard that they were breaking up. And then we heard about Neil. He was going to put this band together with Paul Hester, and they were originally called the Mullanes, which is Neil's middle name. He's Neil Mullane Finn, which I think was his mother's maiden name or something like that. And they were originally a four-piece. They had Nick Seymour, and they also had a second guitarist called Craig Hooper, who was in an Australian band called the Reels. And and then when they went to America, Craig decided he wanted to drop out. He wanted to go back to the Reels, and the record company hated the name, the Mullanes, and so they asked for another name. And they one of the names that they came up with was Largest Living Things,
Yep.
which Paul Hester ended up using as a band name when he left Crowded House later on. But they ended up going with Crowded House, recording their album with Mitchell Froome in Los Angeles. And for me, it was the very first single. It was Mean to Me. And I remember sort of waiting with bated breath because I was wondering, what is this band going to be like after Split Ends?
Right.
And I saw the film clip on one of the Saturday morning clip shows that we used to have here in Australia. We'd have on Saturday morning, most of the channels would have like a couple of hour video clip show where they would show new clips and sometimes some older ones and so on and so on. And I saw Mean to Me for the very first time, and my initial reaction was, everything's going to be all right,
Yeah, right.
because I was really worried whether I was going to like this new band after Split Ends and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
when Mean to Me came out, I instantly loved it, and
Yeah.
I
Such a
bought the
relief.
album the first chance I got, and yeah, it was really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, I also heard Mean to Me. That was I'd heard the Mean to Me single on the radio, and I just immediately just locked in with it and thought, oh my God, this is great. And I didn't really put the connection together that it was the Split Ends. It took me a second to realize, oh, this is Neil Finn from Split Ends. And you
Mm.
were way more on the Split Ends train than I was, because you were waiting for Crowded House to happen. But I had heard Mean to Me, and I went, oh, and then I made the connection. Oh, this is the band that did I Got You, because I didn't know a lot about Split Ends. I just had greatest hits,
Yeah.
and so, but once I got in, then once I heard that song, I just was like, wow, that's a great song. I love that song. And I immediately waited. I couldn't wait for the album to come out, and I bought the album like right away. I bought it pretty fast when it came out. So I was really on board pretty fast. And I listened to the album, and I just remember thinking, wow, this record is so good. It's just so well done and so well written. I love Neil's writing so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
what a great record this is. There it
Yeah.
is. That's the
1986. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. took until 87 for it to really be a hit in the US, though, didn't it? Because,
It did.
funnily
Yeah.
enough, the big hit off this album was Don't Dream It's Over.
Hmm.
That was the fourth single off the album. That, that you had Mean to Me first, and then you
Right.
had World Where You Live,
Hmm.
and then you had Now We're Getting Somewhere. And then
Yes.
you had Don't Dream It's Over. At least that was the single chronology here in Australia. I don't know if it was exactly the same in America,
Yeah.
but that was the single chronology here, and it was like they waited till the fourth single to put
Right.
out Don't Dream It's Over. It's like that was the obvious hit on this album.
That
But
chorus is undeniable. I mean, I can't believe somebody didn't hear that and
mm,
think that's the single.
yeah,
You know. So yeah, I would say that Crowded House kind of suffered from that across their career, that they pick weird songs for singles at the beginning. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion.
yeah.
There's another one that I'll talk about later that I was like, wow, that was the first single on this album. Okay. Um,
Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about, but
yeah. Okay,
yeah,
we'll
we'll
get to
get to
that.
that
We'll get to
one.
that. You
But
know, no spoiler alerts, no
but
spoil.
yeah,
So, but yeah, but what was your take when you first bought? I'm sure you bought it pretty quickly when it came out. What was your first take when you heard it?
yeah, no, I mean, the first thing I noticed was it was different from Split Ends. It was different
Yeah.
even from Neil's songs on Split Ends. With one exception, there's a song on the Australian version of the album, and it's on the CD versions over in North America, but not the vinyl. And that's a song called Can't Carry On. If you listen to that song, it does sound a little bit different from the rest of the album. And that's at least in part because it wasn't produced by Mitchell Froome. It was actually produced by Neil and Eddie Rayner, who was the keyboard player in Split Ends.
Hmm.
And if you listen to that song and go and listen to that song and then listen to the last Split Ends album, which is an album called See You Around, they sound quite similar. It
Yeah.
definitely has the feel of See You Round rather than of this album. But the
Right.
rest of this album, I mean, it's produced by Mitchell Froome and it has that sort of real sort of mid 80s alternative rock sound to it,
Right.
which I don't think Split Enz really had. But the songwriting on this is undeniable.
Yeah.
Mean to Me, great single. I thought it was an interesting choice for a first single because it is a little bit off the beaten path, especially with those sort of weird horn
The
charts and that
horns.
sort of thing
Yeah.
in that song,
Yeah.
which
Right.
I think are great, but
Hmm.
maybe not the most commercial thing they could have released. But some of the deep cuts on this album, Tom,
Oh,
things
yes.
like
Yep.
Love You Till the Day I Die is one of
Yes.
my absolute favorite um, Crowded House deep cuts.
Yes.
So, and
Yes.
then the other one that I always think of is Hole in the
Hole
River.
in the river. Hole in the river for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but this was an autobiographical song. This was like when he sings the line, "There's a hole in the river where my auntie lies." This was something that actually happened in the Finn family.
Okay.
Um, that there was an aunt in the family who went and basically took her own life by jumping off a bridge,
Oh my God.
and
Okay. Okay.
that's what the song is
I
about.
always wondered about that. I was because it always sounds
Yeah.
like, is this literal? Is this like a figurative? Is this true? Is this, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, no, it is a true story from the Finn family.
Wow.
And it when you know that, it gives the song even more power, I think, because I think it is one of their most powerful songs. It's so atmospheric, and then you get this, in that middle eight, that instrumental middle eight, where it really, again, you've got those sort of really strange horns in it, and I love that
Yeah.
about this song, and when they would play it live, those horns would get played on keyboards, and it was a song they played a lot live, but apparently for a long time Neil couldn't play that song if he knew there were members of the family in the audience.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So did Eddie play keyboards with them live?
yeah, some of the
Yeah.
time, like not
Okay.
all of like they had a few different keyboard players, but Eddie was there for the first couple of albums,
Okay.
playing live keyboards with them. But yeah.
Yeah. And Paul Hester was on See Around, right? He was on that record.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
joined in between Conflicting Emotions and See You Around. So they recorded Conflicting Emotions, then Paul joined the band and Noel Crombie went back from drums to percussion. And then,
Okay.
yeah, Paul Hester recorded on See You Around. And there was a song on See You Around that Crowded House used to play a lot when they do those busking things that they would use promotional stuff. There
Right.
was a song called This Is Massive.
Hmm.
And that's a song that Paul wrote. And Split Enz recorded it. And then, yeah, Crowded House used to play it a lot when they do these sort of like busking gigs that they would do as promotional gigs around the US and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. And then Nick basically was kind of like a big Split Ends fan, right? And he kind of was
Mm.
hanging around the last tour, is what I understand. So
Yeah,
it was,
he apparently came up to them after their last Australian show, and Neil was inebriated after the show.
right.
He'd found the show very emotional, and he kind of dealt with that after the show by getting a bit drunk.
Got it.
And Nick came up to him and said, "Oh, I want to audition for your new band." And Neil's just like, "Yeah, sure, sure," you know. And then yeah, and for those who may not know too, Nick Seymour is the brother of Mark Seymour, who is the lead singer and rhythm guitarist in a great Australian band called Hunters and Collectors.
Okay. Okay.
So
All right. I didn't make that connection. There you go.
yeah,
Yeah. So interesting. So yeah, so that's how the band sort of formed. But yeah, they formed and they gelled quickly, it seems like to me. And they just the collection of songs on this first record are very strong for a debut. And I mean, something so strong actually got a lot of play in America as well. That became kind of a big
yeah.
hit here. And I remember thinking that's a great song. Like I know, some people could say, oh, it's a little poppy, a little light, but I think it's great. I think it's really well written, very catchy.
Yeah, Something So Strong is an interesting song because it's one that Neil wrote, but then originally wrote it as sort of a much slower, sort of ballady kind of song.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it was Mitchell Froome who kind of rearranged that song and made it a much more up tempo. And that's why Mitchell Froome gets a songwriting credit on it because of the work that he did on that song. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it
Gotcha.
was a top 10 hit for them in the US as well. So, and that was the fifth single off the album. So
Right,
a lot of
right.
singles off this album.
Yes, absolutely. They were trying to make it happen. The record company kept releasing songs, but it was interesting that it took a while and they finally hit with "Don't Dream It's Over," which really is amazing. I mean, my daughters know that song. They don't, a lot of people just know that song. They don't know Crowded House very well, but they know that song.
Yeah.
That song has become kind of a staple. And another track that I kind of wanted to talk about is Tombstone. I love Tombstone, and that's what
Mm.
that's what I call love. I also kind of like it's kind of quirky, and I like it. Um,
Yeah, well, that's what I call Love is a co-write between Neil and Paul.
right.
So, um, yeah, it's a great song to end the album with too. I love how I love albums that end on a full stop rather than sort of fading out the last song, you know?
Yes, it does that.
And I love how this one, dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
yeah,
dun, it, yeah,
yeah,
it's just a great way to end the album. So, yeah, no, it was a brilliant start, and I love this album a lot. But
yeah.
as I was discussing with you just before we started recording, Tom, I think each album gets a little bit better as they go along in this four album run.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, so let's move on. Let's move on to the sophomore Jinx
Mm.
record. So sophomore slump, right?
Yeah,
But not with Crowded House. And it's just interesting that this band is kind of emotional for me because it's sort of like soundtrack of your life. Like this was high school for me, and then this album was college for me. Um, Temple of Low Men was I was in college, and I remember on the college radio station at DePaul, WGRE, they used to play "Never Be the Same" all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Well,
the song they picked
it's
from this album.
it's funny. I must be just a year or two younger than you, Tom, because this was grade 12 for me.
Okay,
So
there you go. There you go. Yep.
yeah. And then I've also got the picture disc.
Oh, love it. Love
It's
that.
very cool.
Yes, love it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
This album, it didn't do nearly as well in the US. And
No, it didn't. It didn't really do that well here.
and I wonder if something that had something to do with the choice of lead off single, which was Better Be Home Soon, which did
Right.
really, really well on the charts here. Like it was
Okay.
a top 10 smash here.
All right.
Um, but it just didn't seem to capture the imagination of the American market for some reason. And I don't know
Mhm.
why, because I think it's an absolutely gorgeous
Oh,
song.
beautiful, beautiful song. Absolutely. I mean, this album is. Would you say this record? I have a question for you. Do you think this album is a little tad darker than the debut?
Yeah, I
Is that
definitely
fair to
do.
say?
I
Is
think,
that fair?
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's at least in part because the debut album is so bright. It
Right. That's
really is a
true. That's
bright,
true. Yeah.
except for a song like Hole in the River, you know,
Right.
most of the other songs on that first album are up tempo, they're bright, they're breezy, they're radio friendly. This one I think takes a few more chances, and
Yes, it
definitely
does.
does
It
get into
does.
some slightly darker material, but just some absolutely brilliant songwriting.
Absolutely, no doubt. I mean, Into Temptation gets me every time when I hear that song.
Yeah.
Oh, it just gives and I feel possessed. Oh, oh my
Mm.
God. Some of the songs on this are so great.
Yeah, I mean, I Feel Possessed, a beautiful opening track,
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and Into Temptation, it's got that. I always thought it was Mellotron, but it's actually a Chamberlain is the
Oh, is it?
keyboard that they
Okay.
use.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and it's absolutely good. I love the sound of Mellotron or Chamberlain. It's one of my favorite keyboard instruments.
Yeah.
And yeah, but and in between those songs, you've got Kill Eye, which is, it starts off with this sample of Jimmy Swaggart,
Right.
the
Yes.
the TV preacher, sort of
Please forgive
breaking
me.
down after he's been,
Yes. Right.
yeah, after he's been caught, doing all sorts of very unchristian things,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yeah, and it just, I beg you, forgive me,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
um,
It's a great sample. It's a great way to start the song.
Yeah, I mean, and then, side one, you've got Mansion in the Slums as well. I always loved the sentiment of that song. I'd much rather have a caravan in the hills than a mansion in the slums.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes. I love the great
you know,
lyrics. Great lyrics.
mm,
Yes. Yeah. And then when you come,
um,
I mean, there's another great lyric,
yeah,
you know?
I don't know how that song was not a hit. I think that song
Yeah.
has hit single written all over it. And even here, it didn't do that well. Um, and that to me, if I can quote our mutual friend Peter Kerr, is a real head scratch, because
Right.
I don't understand why that song wasn't it. I think that, as I say, that song to me has hit single written all over it.
Again, kind
Um,
of picking weird songs for singles again.
yeah,
It seems like a theme with this band. But yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you. When
absolutely,
You Come is a beautiful track.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
side one, all killer no filler, and then side two has got some, real deep cuts for Credit House, songs that people just don't talk about. And that's a shame. Songs like Never Be the Same, I think is really good. And In the Lowlands is a song nobody ever talks about.
No, no one mentions that
Um,
song.
and I think it's a great song. Love This Life's very Beatly. Sister Madly is one of those songs again that they would do busking a lot.
Yes.
Um,
Right.
you know, so
It's so cat. I love that systematically waking up the dead. I just love that. So great.
yeah.
I mean, and love this life, like you said. I love the sentiment of that. It makes me. Every time I hear that
Mm,
song, that after all my complaining, I'm going to love this life, and I just feel I can relate to that because sometimes I complain a lot, and I'm going, really, I'm trying to love my life anyway. I mean, I complain, but I'm trying to be happy. I've got a lot to be happy about. It's one of those. I love that.
yeah.
You know,
But it's a really good album, but it's kind of sandwiched between two big successful albums for them. You
right,
know,
right.
Crowded House was a massive, massive album in the US. The next album we're going to talk about, Woodface,
Hmm.
massive, massive album in the UK.
Right.
This one kind of didn't really do that well in either territory. It
Right.
still did well here in Australia and over in New Zealand, but yeah, it didn't sort of crack the international market the way some of the other albums did. And that's a bit of a shame, I think.
No, it's a definitely a shame, and I agree with you. In the U.S., it was really it didn't do much. Honestly, it didn't. I didn't. It just it was a sort of a I don't know. For some reason, it's there's no I can't defend why. To me, it's a there's a lot of great music on this record. I'm not quite sure why it didn't do,
Yeah,
but maybe it just the tone of it, or it was a little bit darker, a little bit different, a little tonally, it was a little different than the like you said, the debut was so bright, and I think people were like, "Oh, here
yeah,
comes another bright Crowded House record," and it wasn't that. Um,
yeah.
maybe that was part of it. Um, but then we move on to you mentioned the next record, Woodface, um, and this record, oh my god, there's
Mm.
so much. I just can't. I'm gonna start gushing because this record, I just love this album to death. Oh my god, is this good?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with this one, you get Neil's brother Tim joining from Split Ends. You've got them as a four-piece there. There they are on the back cover.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Yep.
so that was interesting because Neil was basically recording two albums at once at this stage. He was
Mhm,
doing the third Crowded House album, and then he was doing this album with Tim, where they wanted to do this brothers album. They talked about it for a while,
mhm.
and he'd written a whole bunch of songs for Crowded House, and he took them to the record company, and the record company was like, we don't hear a single here. Go and write some more." Um, and then Neil sort of hit a bit of a block, sort of writer's block. Like he'd written enough songs for an album, but he couldn't write even more. And they'd written like half a dozen songs or six or eight songs for this brothers project. And Neil went to Tim and said, "I'm having a bit of problem with the new Crowded House record. Do you mind if I use a few of these songs for the Crowded House record?" And Tim kind of half jokingly said, "Oh, only if I can join the band and do them with you." And
Right,
Neil said, "Yep,
right.
let's do it."
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's how Tim ended up joining the band. And
Mhm.
obviously there are a number of songs that they do together on this album, but there are still a number of Neil Finn songs that he wrote on his own on this album as well. So,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of songs on this record. There's like 14 songs on this album.
It's a pretty long record. Yes, absolutely. This is definitely the
Mm.
CD age where you could fit a lot of songs on the album.
Yeah, but thankfully the vinyl, as everything, it doesn't cut any of the songs out and it doesn't cut the length of any of the songs either. So
Okay.
the grooves are a little crammed. I think the vinyl still sounds good, but you do have to turn it up a notch or two. So
Yes.
um
Yes. Um,
but I think it's still pretty well. I mean, it's still not getting into, sort of Todd Rundgren territory, where
right.
he'd like do an hour's worth on a single vinyl. But
Right. Right. Exactly. There's a couple of those in the 70s, right? For Todd Rundgren.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, the vinyl is definitely crammed. But this was the one I was talking about with the lead single Chocolate Cake.
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought, wow, there's so much great music on this, so many great songs. How could that be the single? That was just my opinion, but
I think Chocolate Cake's a wonderful song, but if they were trying to get back into the US market, it was the wrong song to pick because
yeah.
I don't mean to be mean, Tom, but a lot of Americans that I've known are not noted for having a sense of humor about themselves.
No, no, no.
And that song definitely pokes fun at Americans, and
Yeah.
American culture and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the sentiment. I don't disagree with it at all. Actually, I think it's absolutely true. It's just that,
Mm.
it's just like you said, it's kind of an odd career move to be poking fun at the America. Um, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, you get a couple of singles in, and all of a sudden they started really taking off in the UK, especially with a song like Weather with You.
right,
Because,
right.
I mean, Brits are always talking about the weather.
Right.
You know, if
Right.
you ever talk to your British friends, they're always talking about the weather. Oh, it's rainy, it's this, it's that.
Hmm.
So a song like Weather With You was almost tailor-made for the UK market. And it's a
Hmm.
gorgeous, gorgeous song. Although they had to, when they released it as a single, they edited it and restructured it slightly
Oh,
so
they
that the
did.
chorus would come in, a verse earlier.
Okay.
Because originally, if you listen to it on the record, on the CD, it's kind of like verse, 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 and then chorus, chorus.
Right. That is true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but so what they did for the single was that they edited it so that it kind of went verse, verse, chorus, verse, chorus.
Right. Right.
So
Got
that the
it.
chorus would come in a little earlier for the radio and that sort of thing.
Right.
So,
Right. But to me, this song screams single. I mean, this is a single, like,
mm,
I think even the verse, I mean, you said there were verses, but I don't, the verse is so catchy. I mean, that whole, and show me where the do, 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 do. I mean,
yeah.
that is just such a great melodic verse.
Yeah.
I
And I
mean,
love the lyric too, you know, walking around the room singing stormy weather at 57 Mount Pleasant Street. Well, it's the
yes,
same room, but everything's different. You can find the sleep, but not the dream. I
yes,
love that.
yes, that's a great, again. And is that their
Um,
house? Is that their address from when they were growing up, when they
I
were
no,
little?
I don't know where 57 Mount Pleasant Street is, but it's probably somewhere in Tiawamutu.
Okay, okay.
Um, and um, and then the line that always gets me is "Things ain't cooking in my kitchen."
Kitchen, yes,
That,
yes,
that's such a good line, you
it
know.
is. Yes, yes.
Um,
And I just love
but
the
yeah,
harmonies. I love the harmonies. I love the melodies. I love the chorus. I mean, there's just this song is just a gem. Oh my God, I love that song.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, the blend of Neil and Tim's voices is so good. And then on top of that, you know, Paul and Nick could sing as well. So you could
Yes.
get these
Right.
multi-part vocals and it was just absolutely wonderful. Um,
What are some other
I mean
standouts
the
for
other
you?
oh, I mean Fall at Your Feet was a single and it's really, really good.
Yep.
Um, but some of the deeper cuts on this album, things like, you know, you want a really up-tempo song, Fame Is.
Yes.
That one
Yes.
really rocks along, you know,
Yeah.
and Neil is singing at the, you know, sort of full capacity when he's, you know, when
Yeah,
fame
he's
is in
almost
the dark.
cracking. Yeah, he's almost cracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one of the other songs I absolutely love on this album, and I first heard this because I actually got the Chocolate Cake single before the album came out.
Hmm.
I got the CD single of Chocolate Cake, and it had some B-sides, including a couple that weren't even on the album. But one of them that was on the album that was a B-side on there was As Sure as I Am.
Oh yes. Oh
Um,
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Such a beautiful, beautiful song.
Beautiful.
Um,
The melodies are just
you
so
know,
awesome. Yes.
and the again the lyrics are so beautiful. I pity the rhino. Down there, it's becoming extinct, killed for a love potion. Sad thing, looking like a dead flower.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, just such gorgeous lyrics.
Yeah.
Um, and then you get a showcase for Paul, Paul Hester. He sings and writes the song Italian Plastic.
Right. Right.
And
Yep.
it's great to hear Paul take a lead vocal, you know,
Yes.
because that boy could sing,
Right. Yeah. He
you
could.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and he didn't get to write enough songs, I don't think, for Crowded House, but yeah, I always loved Italian Plastic, and it's a bit of a, you know, lighter-hearted moment on the
Right. A lot of
album too.
personality. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
you know, when you wake up with me, I'll be your glass of water.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right. Yes. Exactly. Yes. I love
so
it.
what are some of the ones you really like?
Well, there's such a bounty of riches on here. I mean, it's only natural. Just that's my
Yes.
absolute. I just oh my god, I love that song. I know I'm gushing here, but Fall at Your Feet, I absolutely love it. Tall Trees is kind of a cool rocker.
Mm.
I always like that. Tall trees stand in the distance. Remember when you were young. I just, it's just, yeah, I love that. Whispers and I mean, I can. This whole album is so good. All I ask is another like, oh, it's like there's just
Yeah,
something about
it's
that.
like,
Tim sings lead on that.
yeah, it's Tim sort of in Frank Sinatra mode, isn't it? Like
Right,
it's very,
exactly. Yes.
it's got that real sort of crooner feel to it. And it's, musically they do it that way too. It's, orchestrated and it's, yeah, no, it's absolutely gorgeous. And again, you talk about the lyrics is, this was Tim in his absolute sort of Zen Buddhism phase.
Right, right.
It's like,
Yeah,
all I ask is to live each moment free from the last.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just, what a beautiful sentiment that
Yeah,
is.
don't we all want to do that? It's
Mm,
like everybody wants to do that. It's just, I think it's a wonderful lyric.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
sung so well. Like you said, he kind of croons it, and it gets me. I just love that track. Yeah, this album is so strong. And like I said,
yeah.
I don't dislike Chocolate Cake. I just didn't think it would be a good single. I just thought there were so many more singles on
I
this.
think it, I think it works well as an album opener, but
Right,
as
like
a single,
yes,
maybe not so much.
yeah.
But then, the album closes with a couple of gorgeous songs too, with She Goes On and How Will You Go. I mean, both of
Right?
those
I mean,
songs.
right. I mean, just yeah.
And and then you get the hidden track at the end.
Right, right,
Right at the
right.
end, you get
Yes.
again Paul Hester getting out there with "I'm Still Here."
Right.
You know, and you
Yeah.
can tell they're just mucking around in the studio having fun with "I'm Still Here."
It kind of scares you. Like
It's
when I didn't realize when I first started
yeah,
listening to it, all of a sudden it's like yelling and screaming. Like, what's happening? Whoa. You had it pretty loud. Yeah. But yeah, that was the cool thing to do back then. That was everyone was doing hidden tracks at this time,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Uh,
It's sort of like I think of Nirvana with right at the end of Nevermind with that real screamy thing that they had at the end there.
yeah, the endless nameless. Yeah. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, and there, but yeah, so a fabulous, excellent 5-star. I love this album to death. I just think this is so.
yeah,
I never get tired of it. I always come back to it, and every time I come back to it, I say, "What an amazing record this is!" I just love it.
yeah. In my humble opinion, though, this is slightly better.
See, there you go, there you go.
Um,
I'm not sure about that
uh,
personally, but I do love this album. Yes.
Tim left the band on the tour of Woodface because it wasn't working so well live. Like because what happened was when Tim joined the band, they decided he would be the keyboard player, and he's a very able keyboard player,
Right.
but
Right.
he was not used to being the keyboard player in a band.
Right.
He was used to
Right.
being the front man.
Yes.
And so it didn't really work with Crowded House. So he ended up leaving. And they had another guy playing keyboards with them on the road called Mark Hart, an American guy, um, who had also played with Supertramp.
Okay.
Um, Mark Hart played, he did like the Roger Hodgson part in Supertramp. He was playing keyboards and guitars and singing those high vocals.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. And then he joined the band. They made him a full member of the band for this album. And in fact, he would be for the next couple when they did the reunion as well, the first reunion.
Hmm.
And they recorded this album in a big house in a place called Carry Beach in New Zealand. They brought all the equipment in and they used a different producer. The first three records were all produced by Mitchell Froom. This one was produced by a guy called Youth, um, who'd been in the original version of Killing Joke.
Right.
And
Right.
it gives it a different sound. Again, a bit of a darker hue, I think, to this
Definitely
record.
darker. Yes. Yes.
Um, but I love this record to death. Again, a pretty long record. There's 13 songs on it, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could rave on about literally
So
every
good.
song on this record.
Yeah,
So,
it's good. It's very
I
good.
mean, especially the opener, Kari Kari,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, which is a song that's credited to all four members of the band.
Hmm.
And so I'm assuming that musically it came out of a jam,
Right.
and then Neil wrote lyrics to it. But it's an absolutely gorgeous song.
Mhm.
Um, and again, lyrics, my goodness, that Neil Finn had a way with words.
Yes.
The doesn't really have a chorus, this song, but it has a refrain that comes up every so often.
Right.
And the lyric is sleep by no means comes too soon in a valley lit by the moon. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
so evocative, that lyric.
absolutely. And the music's so evocative as well,
Yeah.
you know?
Now, again, this album did very well in the UK. It did nothing in the US.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
I think, though, they got the single right on this album because the first single was Distant Sun, and I think that's
Oh,
an excellent first single.
so good. Such a great single. I can't believe it didn't do better.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
the first time I heard that song was in a shopping center.
Mhm. Oh, was it?
Um, yeah, I was walking through a shopping center and I heard this song and I was like, "Oh, this is a good song." And then I listened a little closer. And it's like, "Oh, that's Neil Finn. This must be the new Crowded House single,"
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember just loving it instantly.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
Um,
good. It's such a great song.
yeah,
Love Distant Sun.
the the dust from a distant sun will shower over everyone.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Oh my God. So good.
but it's just so catchy and it's got a bit of a Birds feel to it with that sort of 12-string guitar and
Yes. Yep.
um, you know, um, yeah, no, it's a beautiful, beautiful song, and it was a hit here. It was a hit in the UK, but yeah, it did nothing in the US.
Right, which is just a total shame and ridiculous. I can't believe that people didn't like. I mean, Locked Out did get some airplay, and it was on MTV and it was on Reality Bites and all that, so it did get some attention in the
Well,
U.S.
yeah, because it was in the movie Reality
Right.
Bites. I think that's what garnered it some attention. But and
Yeah,
it's a great song.
I love the song
It's a
too. Yeah.
really yeah. And again, apparently that one started off as a much slower sort of ballady kind of song, and then I think it was Youth who really got him to kick it into gear and make it a rocker.
Like, let's get more
So
rockers on there on here. Yeah, maybe.
hmm, I don't know. I mean, there's the fair share of you've got things like In My Command is a really, really good sort of rockin' song.
Mhm.
Um,
Black and White Boy.
but
Yeah,
yeah, Black and White Boy,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But then you do have some absolutely gorgeous, slower songs, more atmospheric. I hesitate to call them ballads, but they're more sort of atmospheric songs like Catherine Wheels,
Oh, Catherine
which
Wheels, great. Yes.
yeah. And Tim comes back to sing the harmonies on that
Oh,
one.
he does. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, the song was written by Neil, Tim, and Nick Seymour.
Okay.
And yeah, if you listen to those harmonies in the chorus, she was always the first to thank God. She's got her Catherine wheels
Wheels
on.
on.
That
Yeah.
that the high voice is Tim.
Okay.
So
Okay. Got it. That's cool.
um
I love it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then the song Walking on the Spot is actually a song they'd been doing since the very beginning.
Oh,
They
wow.
were playing that
Okay.
song on the first tour.
Wow.
And and Neil had tried to record it a few times and just not gotten the feel that he wanted for it. And apparently one day he walked into the studio and started playing it on the piano and singing it.
Right.
And Youth was like, hit record.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they
Right.
recorded it, and that was the version that they finally used. But I think a live version had been released like an album or two earlier as a B-side to one of the singles.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Interesting. I didn't know
but
that
yeah,
went back
it
so
was,
far. Yeah.
yeah, no, it went back right to sort of like mid 80s, that one. Yeah.
Okay. And then what about Fingers of Love?
Fingers of Love. Oh,
Come
yeah,
on.
no.
I mean, what an atmospheric, beautiful track that is.
Yeah, that one and the other one that I always sort of put together as a twofer is Private Universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, just absolutely gorgeous. And you get on that song and on the title track Together Alone, you get these Cook Island log drummers
Yes.
just doing
Yes.
this beautiful, um, the log drums, they have this gorgeous woody sound to them.
Hmm.
And it gives so much atmosphere to both of those songs, to Private Universe and Together Alone. Um, and then
Yeah.
of course Paul gets another feature with the song Skin Feeling, and that's another great rocker too.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yep. Hmm.
and it's a great vocal from Paul as well. And then the
Hmm.
on that song you hear like somebody rambling on, I like to ride fast, and all of that's actually Mark Hart.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and yeah, that's why it's in an American accent. So,
Right. Right.
but yeah, um, yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a great album.
Really good
To
album.
me, it's the atmosphere of this album that just puts it over the top as my favorite Crowded House album. I think it's got an atmosphere that's different from pretty much any other Crowded House album, like
Mhm.
previously or
Or
later on.
later. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think they're really taking chances here. You can tell they're doing something different.
Mm,
They have a new producer, kind of exotic, as you mentioned, exotic location to record, different instrumentations, different sonics. I mean, just the sonics of this record are so different. And I know what you mean. It kind of gets you in. It takes you somewhere. This album, you
mm,
know. You kind of feel like you're somewhere else when you're listening to this album. You
yeah,
know, so, but it still has
yeah,
that crowded
absolutely.
house writing and beautiful writing and craftsmanship to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it
Yeah.
really is
Yeah.
the most atmospheric record they ever made, and
Mhm. Yeah.
it's one that, yeah, it stands out in the discography for me. So,
Yeah. It's excellent. Excellent record. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. I mean, there's the four record run right there. So it's, so 86, right? Is the debut 86, right? Then 88, Temple of Low Men, 88,
yep,
Woodface, 1991, I believe. Is that right?
yep,
91. And then um and then Together Alone is 1993.
yep,
So there you go. And I can show that I this was so for me again, soundtrack of my life. This is Chicago. This is when I moved to Chicago. And I remember
yeah,
this was one of the first CDs I bought when I was in Chicago. And you can see Gramophone Records was right down the street from me. I went down the street and bought this off the shelf. Because
very
I have
nice.
I have to have it, and it just reminds me of Chicago.
Yeah,
I used to be in my studio apartment listening to this album late at night. And it always
yeah.
did the trick.
We should mention too that all four of those album covers, and indeed all the album covers that Crowded House would ever do, were created by Nick Seymour, the bass player. He's a very good
Yes,
artist.
great artist.
And he
Yeah.
used to create these wonderful jackets for them to wear in concert as well. Um,
Hmm.
so so they had a look. It was different from the Split Ends look, because Split Ends always had, wonderful uh, costumes and suits that were made by Noel Crombie. Um, the suits that, you can sort of see it on this front cover. You look at Neil
Yes.
and
Yes.
Nick. Those are the
Hmm.
sort of jackets that they would wear, and
Right.
they just looked absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I
They had a
mean,
style.
so
Yeah.
yeah, they had a style, and their covers, they had a look of their own, and that was because of Nick's artwork. So just
Absolutely.
wanted to give a shout out to Nick for his artwork on those wonderful, wonderful album covers.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. Great, very unique artwork. And so what I would say that's the run. So what do you have any final
Mm.
thoughts about this four album run?
No, I mean, I will say, it was again a disappointment when this band broke up,
Yeah.
because they'd
Yeah.
only done four records. And again, I didn't know that they would, get back together. And the albums that they did after getting back together, you know, some are better than others. I think Intriguer is an album that's well worth looking out,
Right.
if you don't know it.
Hmm.
I think that's a brilliant, brilliant record. But yeah, and they've had a lot of lineup changes. You know, Neil and Nick are the only two constants in the band. But yeah, they're still going. They've still been touring, and you know, they put out a record a year or two ago. And yeah, but those first four records, they're just undeniable. And then they did this wonderful, uh, you know, one-off farewell concert on the steps of the Sydney Opera House, called the Farewell to the World Tour. Funnily enough, when they were deciding what they were going to do, Nick Seymour's brother Mark, who was in Hunters and Collectors, um, he suggested that they should do a farewell tour. And apparently his exact words were, go for the vulgar dollar.
Yeah, just cash in, just cash in.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can make a lot of money on a farewell tour.
yeah.
Yeah, which is it
But
is a shame
yeah,
though. I agree with you that it was only four records, and it would have been nice to have one more with the original lineup. You know,
yeah, absolutely. Because they recorded some new songs for the best of that came out,
that's right.
the
Three
Recurring
songs, right?
Dream.
Yeah, yeah,
And they're all great.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, everything is good for you. Not the Girl You Think You Are is an absolute masterpiece. I love that song to death.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and I'm blanking on the third one.
Oh,
But
but they're all
they're all
good.
really good
Yeah,
songs.
yeah.
And yeah. Now we've got just a little side story. I saw Neil Finn on his first solo tour after Crowded House broke up, when he was touring his first solo record, which now I'm called Try Whistling This.
Yes, right, right.
And we have here in Australia, and unfortunately she's making a comeback at the moment, a sort of far right populist woman in politics called Pauline Hanson.
Okay.
And in his solo show, he played the song Not the Girl You Think You Are, and he
Hmm.
dedicated it to her. So I thought that was a kind of, you know, backhanded thing to do, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. So
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I do enjoy Try Whistling This. I think that's a pretty good record as well. I
it's
enjoyed that.
great and it's out there. It's like he really is experimenting on that
Oh,
record.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, but that's for a whole nother episode. So we'll talk, maybe we'll talk about
Mm,
that some other time. But yeah, I would say that's a wrap on another incredible run for Crowded
yeah.
House. I mean, you can tell that we're both huge fans of this band. I don't think we held back. But what do you guys what do you guys think? Let us know below. There may be some dissenters, who knows? But I read all the comments, and I'd be curious to know what you guys think of this album run. And As always, Bicycle Legs, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure as always.
Oh yeah, no, I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, so much fun, and this is a band that we've been dying to talk about. As you can probably tell. So thanks again. You did a wonderful job, and please, everybody, if you like what you see, please hit like and subscribe. As always, check out Bicycle Legs channel. Bicycle Legs Talks Music. It's excellent. You cannot miss. He's a very knowledgeable gentleman when it comes to music, and he does some great content. So you cannot miss with that. So go check it out. I'll put a link below. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Curless Mania. Take care.
Bye.